first meeting with the new microphone. Hopefully we'll be able to hear it.
Okay. All right, open the meeting with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Approval of the bills. A motion.
I will make a motion to approve the bills.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of the May.
Did he, like, I'm blanking, I'm sorry, it was the last week of school, words are slow. Can George participate in that because he didn't read them yet? Like, he's not through them, so does he have to abstain?
He should abstain.
Okay, should abstain.
Yes, he should.
One abstain.
Okay.
Yeah, if this is gonna be the way it is every time, I gotta get here a day early. To have any idea, you can't do this in 15 minutes, a half hour. So, yeah, okay, thank you. That works for me.
I get here at 6.
Huh?
I get here at 6 to open the
Yeah.
doors and everything, so.
Yeah, well, I planned on being here at 6, but that never works. I was in earlier in the week and you were out, and that would have been a good time, because I was looking for you.
Do you have them available the day before?
Usually just the day of.
The day of?
By noonish, yeah.
Can you do the,
Insurance.
the one that compiles everything? Can you put them online? 'Cause that's
The
not-
summary.
So Renee takes the bills and processes them and then prints that out at the time that she puts them in the computer. So until she's done with that, there's no way of printing this out to put it in, send it to you guys.
So that gets done at the last.
Right, so it's, I could have her do them earlier, so they're done the day before.
Well, if you could get this, because you send this stuff, and I read that through the Gmail or whatever it is.
It'd be easier, George, just to come in, to send all that to you.
No, I mean just a summary, if they could put the summary in, and then I could go through these and these.
The summary's done last, is what he's saying.
Right, and when is the summary?
Day of.
The day of?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll forget everything else. Okay.
But I think you're saying it's available today.
It is,
in business
yes,
hours,
right.
So
And you
you
tell me
can
when the day.
She doesn't do anything until she
Right.
goes, until she gets a mail, she has to wait till the mail until at least 9:30. And then that way we make sure all the bills are in and for the meeting.
Yeah.
So that's the earliest she can start. And then she has to do the rack and whatever. So usually it's not done until noontime.
Okay, I get that works for me.
Okay. Approval of the May 11th meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't remember reading. Were they in the email?
I think so.
They were, then I read them. I just don't remember clicking on that one, but I read everything in the email.
Okay, opposed? None? Carried. Okay, under the reports. Under the ARPA grant, myself, and Courtney met with Maria Mazurek of Clark Patterson Lee Associates. She's overseeing drafting the bathrooms, and we came up with 3 options. One was a pre-built concrete buildings. They're prefab. Another one was a prefab wood unit,
wood structure that would take the place of the bathrooms up there. And then thirdly was to renovate the current bathrooms, remodel and renovate, to see if that was a viable option. Even her thinking was, we're basically putting a building up that's basically the same size. So if we could utilize a lot of the structure that's there and renovate, and maybe we could save some money that way. So I'm supposed to hear back. Eric Weiss emailed me and said we should have a response within the next few days. So by the end of next week, I would think we would have the cost projections, and we'll know which way to proceed. So, I asked Eric about the consolidated funding application for the planning grant. He said they would be sending that in, but it didn't have to be until July 29th. So they're going to take care of that. Under the meetings, there's another meeting I could add on to this that we had yesterday. We met with Patrick McGee, the superintendent of the high school, and he came down with their resource officers, Josh Braben, who's the deputy sheriff at the school, and we sat here and discussed how their deputy could be utilized here in the village during the summer months when school's not in session, because the kids aren't there. He would be available to be here in the village, to patrol the streets, to cut down on the speeding. And I'm very excited about this, and I can't say enough about what Patrick McGee did for us to make this happen. He cleared it with the chief in Batavia, and now we're going to have that officer here in the village. And,
So who's paying for that? Like, where does that?
the school, because he's under contract by the school.
It's a
Okay.
year-round contract, he's there in the summer
Okay.
anyway.
Okay. I didn't
So-
realize that.
And they're offering
Yeah.
free time to us, which is good.
Fortunately, Patrick McGee was here that night
Yes.
to present the budget, and he heard everything. And he called me the next day and he said, Joe, I think maybe we could work something out. He goes, I hear the dilemma you have there, and he goes, I think maybe we can help you out. Let me get a hold of the chief and the resource officer, and we'll meet with you and talk it over, and we can set it up. So he did that, so my hat's off to him, and the whole village should be very, grateful to what he's done by getting us that officer. So it's going to make a huge impact in this village.
Joe, is he able to write tickets?
Yes.
Is he? Okay.
He's a full deputy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's going to be setting up radar on the streets, and wherever, if someone lets me know of a speeder at a certain time every day, we can notify him, and then we can set it up where he could even, be there to cut down on the speeding here in the village. So it's huge. Okay. I did get a email from Bergen Business and Civic. They wanted to extend an invite for any of the board members or employees here at the village to walk in the parade on Saturday. So you're all invited if you want to walk in the parade. Parade's at 12 o'clock, so I'd say be there by like 11:45.
I'll be in it anyway.
Okay, yeah. But just they did send that invite out.
Like
Okay.
walk in there?
Yes. So yes, I will be there. Under the miscellaneous, I've got in there, Genesee Justice is doing a lot of work for us right now. And even today, it's not in this report, but as of today, he weed whipped all of Hickory Park in preparation for the park day. So there's a lot of trees in Hickory Park. And he did a really good job. So he'll be back Friday, and I'll assign him other work in the village to clean up here and there.
So all of this work here was done by Genesee Justice free of charge?
Yes,
And that's commendable.
it's a lot of work.
Is there a letter of thanks that we can put to Genesee Justice or something like that when the services are done? To thank them for being a part of our village and helping?
I do that, I have to sign off on all their hours and send back paperwork,
All right?
and I have to give a little brief how each individual performed here,
Okay. Yeah, I know they're kind of mandated, but it's still,
you know.
I think that's a lot of taxpayer saving dollars right there. If our guys had to, do that work, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Just a thought,
I think it's great,
Yeah, we can do that, we can send a letter.
just a thought.
Are they is they or he, whatever, working right alongside of our guys with them?
No,
They work
Pretty much
on their own,
independently.
just independently?
yep. You give them a weed eater, you make sure it's full of gas, you send them in the park, and they do it. Or same with the staining of the bridges, Heartland Park, you give them paint, the rollers, and then I'll usually check on them during the day.
Yeah.
And if they don't have a ride, I'll get them in my truck and bring them down and get something to eat, for lunch. And then take them back, make sure they have water. Other than that, they're pretty self-sufficient. Okay, and we did order the 2 solar-powered LED speed display signs. They're doing, 2 weeks, Courtney, probably? 2 to 3 weeks they should be here. The other DOT item that was out here, I gave everybody one of these letters from the DOT that I received yesterday, and I showed some of the people here in attendance this letter. But they're stating that this intersection isn't, basically they're saying it's not dangerous enough in their eyes. There's not the volume of traffic there entering the intersection to justify putting a 4-way stop in there. They're saying the sight distances are all legal, and there haven't been enough accidents there to warrant putting 4-way stop in. So that's the conclusion of their study. I know everybody in this room feels different, but that's their summary, so that's what we go by. The other thing is we had a barrel over here in the road for a catch basin that caved in. We notified the DOT on that, and they got back to me and said that it wasn't their problem, it was our problem, because they don't take care of any of the drainage in their roads, in the state roads. So it was our problem. So we had to order and get the new grates in, and that work should be completed by the end of next week. So we put a steel plate over it for now. It worked out better than having that barrel there. And by the end of next week, we should have that repaired.
Joe, what kind of materials are you waiting for?
Well, we had to get a round 24-inch grate. We do have it in-house.
I think I have them, so if you ever need that stuff in a pinch,
Okay.
call around, somebody's got them local.
Okay. All right. And I'm trying to go through Genesee County Highway Department to get larger 30-mile-an-hour signs for Buffalo Road. And the ones we have in-house, I thought were larger than the ones that are out there, but the guys got them, to put them on, they were the same size. So Genesee County Highway makes signs for at no cost. So it's good to utilize them for that, because signs are very expensive.
Mayor,
Yes.
on that issue, I think that's great. I think that'll make a difference, and thank you for getting that flag up.
Well, there's 2 flags on there now.
Yeah, that's
I just
wonderful.
noticed it, yeah.
Now, I've been noticing though on the going towards Churchville, there's no 30-mile-an-hour sign between the restaurant and the 55, because what happens is going towards Churchville, there's no sign, so they're accelerating right away. So I think that if we could use one, I don't know where to put it, somewhere in between the last one way down and the 55 mile an hour.
Are there two at the other end though?
There's
But
one.
you have to have two, right, Paul, to be legal.
Two at the approach, yeah, and then every, it goes by speed limit on distance. I think it's 1,500 feet, so there probably should be one. Anytime you make a turn off, like say Rochester Street onto Buffalo Road, there
Gotcha.
should be one in each direction.
Gotcha.
There's one on Munger, there's one on the Park Avenue.
I'll,
But then like from the cemetery to the 55 mile an hour zone, there's nothing there.
okay.
So people just lose track of things, like a cat or something, they get.
Maybe you could relocate one of those existing
That's,
signs.
well, we got a couple, that'd be fine too, because you got one in front of Munger, and I don't know what those needs to be there, one by the cemetery, actually, there's one by the cemetery. And,
Paul's got a valid point. When you pull out, even out of Munger, you don't know what the speed limit is there because it's a state road.
right, so that
So
needs
it's
to
the
be
same thing as
there.
Rochester, so.
You got a bundle of them down around beyond the cemetery, and nothing between the cemetery.
Okay. I'll run this by DOT and tell them what, you know,
Yeah.
our concerns are on this issue.
Yeah, I think somewhere, not right up next to the 55, but it's just a big stretch as far as I'm concerned, where people are impatient. They're gonna, you know, they see the 55 mile an hour zone coming, and there's, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay.
But I think that's great about that's gonna send a message. The larger sign is gonna send a message right away. And things I think have been doing better. And Trooper Barrett will be monitoring that Buffalo as well.
Okay, good.
I had a point on that.
Go ahead.
There's no, and when you go to Churchville, there's a 45 mile an hour section. Before you get to there, 30. Coming in, both ends of the village on Buffalo Road. As you come off 33, 33A, there's no sign at all, which is probably 55. Well, why couldn't that be 45? Now you've got them slowed down to 45, and you slow them down to 30, that's SCOMAC. And then you don't let them speed back up until somewhere they're past Robinson's when the 45 goes to a 55. Churchville's done it, but all you have is 30s.
I think that's all set by the state. I don't
Yeah.
believe that's anything the village did, but that's
Well, yeah, but you
certainly
ask them,
something
hey,
you
you
could
did
look
it,
into.
you did it in Churchville. And you could have a Genesee County Sheriff can pull over big trucks. They're not trained for everything, but they say, oh, excuse me, Mr. Trucker, I'm not sure about some of the things on your truck. I'm gonna call the DOT van, he's out on 490. He'll be here in about 20 minutes, just sit tight. Maybe you get that a little through the message that, hey, we're gonna pull you over, we're gonna make you wait for DOT trooper to come inspect your truck. Maybe they'll go back on 490.
So what you're saying is they're coming down Buffalo Road instead of 490 to.
That's what the last meeting was, because they have the truck stop on the rest area to inspect the trucks. Well, they'd rather go on Buffalo Road and go around it. You can fix that. You have the Genesee County Sheriff call for the DOT transportation van. That guy comes in, the trooper comes and inspects the truck, but that trucker gets to sit and wait for 20 minutes till that van gets here.
They quit coming down, they are running crazy on that road, the trucks are running crazy.
I know it's not
Well, maybe I
the greatest
should,
thing to do, but
yeah,
you get a little message to them like, hey, we will pull you over and we'll look at your truck.
bring it to their attention that, hey, here's what's going on. When you're setting up your weight, you know, the weigh-ins there, truckers around their radios are telling everybody to go around and then they're avoiding it. So,
And George had the app that showed it wasn't even 30 anywhere through the village. You said it was 55 the whole way.
On the GPS,
Yeah, so-
yeah.
on the government it is.
Whoever makes that should be able to, you should be able to make, no, we have a 30-mile section for the village here. We gotta change that.
Do that for DOT also.
I think we're on the right track, though. A few simple changes could make a difference.
We'll keep whittling away at it.
The truckers probably would be very happy, you know. You get a company trucker,
Well,
they don't usually like to mess with the company truckers.
They don't make us very happy.
They got a lot of
about this.
lawyers, but.
Just a little respect, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, there's also those 30 ahead signs. If you can't do a 45, there's the 30 mile with the arrow up
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
You know, just giving some notice, because it does go to 55 to 30 like that, you know. But,
Well, we have one coming in.
Right.
And they
But-
ignore that.
Yeah,
And then we have a 30-mile-an-hour and they ignore that. And they start doing the 30 about the time they get down to,
better the signage, I think, you know. It's a good start.
yeah, and a few tickets. And,
Absolutely. Once word gets out that the sheriffs are here a lot.
because if you go into Chi-Li,
Yeah.
Chi-Li, people just know, you slow down. A lot of tickets have been written on that road, just that little stretch, it goes down to 35, is it Chi-Li?
Churchville.
No, after
Buffalo
Church,
Road?
after Churchville.
Oh, Ogden?
Going into the next town is Chi-Li.
North Carolina.
North Chi-Li, thank you. And people just know, there's been so many people got tickets there. I mean, I myself slow right down. I've never had a ticket there, but I've heard so many people have had a ticket there that I've paid real attention to that. So, hitting them in the wallet. I've been hit there a few times. But thank you, Joe. I think I've seen a difference. I think I've already seen a difference.
Yeah, that's good. Big part of this week is getting ready for Park Day, you know, making the village look really spiffy, so guys are working hard, getting it ready. In between the rain, hopefully they get everything done. I'd like to get the park mowed again on Friday. It's looking good up there, and the guys are working hard. Everything at the sewer plant's running well. Chris is finishing up that Cat 6 wire. He was screening topsoil out of our compost pile. And he had to replace one seal in the RAS pump. I talked to him again today, and he said everything has been running well, so everything's good there. The electric, they did work in the substation, changing out the oil in the 34.5 enclosure. And everything went well on the May 14th shutdown of the whole substation for maintenance. Unfortunately, we have the two stations, you can shut one down, and feed the rest of the village off the other one when Bondwell's not running. When they're running, we can't do that because they use so much load, we can't just put everybody on one station. But this is the time of year when you use the infrared and you see your hot spots, and you take a shutdown and you get in there and you clean them all up and get everything ready for the next season. So that's all been done. Any other questions on my report? Well, yeah.
Pretty much all set.
Yeah. I have to say the fountain's running again. I plan on putting a timer on it. I'm thinking rather than run it 24 hours a day, because what happens in that fountain, the west wind blows and it blows the water out of it. So you constantly have to fill it up. So I'm thinking about putting a timer on it, maybe shut off at, say, 10 o'clock at night and come back on, say, at early in the morning. And then I'm happy to say, too, Mike Marsaki has offered to, he put a water spigot on the back of his building, because right now we're running it all the way from the back of this building, which is about another 120 feet, with hose. So you gotta keep unraveling the hose and get it over there and fill it up and bring it all back. So he's offered for us to use his spigot now. It'd be a lot more convenient. So we'll take advantage of that, and that's my thanks to Mike Marsaki for allowing us to do that.
How much does a timer cost? Have you looked at it at all? I'm just curious.
I've actually got one home, I'm just gonna donate. I gotta buy 2 pins for it. I looked at it, it's only got 1 pin. It's got 2 pins usually, one to come on, one to go off. The one I got's missing, so you can buy the pins for like $4.67. So I just gotta buy a package of them so I can. Okay.
So with or without tax?
Yeah, without. So, But I think it'll work. I think, you know, I hope nobody steals the timer, but I think, you know, there's no need to have that thing on at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So,
I do have a question, if you don't mind me asking it now. How do you allow for water usage if you're using a private individual's water source?
he's just gonna donate it.
Thank you.
That's what he told me. Just a donation. Okay, thank you. Courtney?
The only thing I really have, I just want to bring up on my report is the first aid and AED certification. Our certifications are up in September for most of the employees. And when we do a class, it has to be 8 people, or at least we have to pay for 8 people. And last time, 2 years ago, we had just 6. So I just wanted to know if anybody is interested in.
I'd be glad to do a refresher. I've been through a few
You got
Liberty pumps.
yours at your work. You probably
It's
done
in
yours.
it's in
Oh, you do
September,
too.
right? You do it in
Yes.
September. Yeah.
Well, we don't have-
did it in August,
We
I can come,
Yeah,
but
we can actually.
depending when in August you did it, but.
Yeah, the certification's up in September, but we can do it before that. It's just whatever time. So if you're interested, we can make it earlier.
Yeah, if it worked, I mean, if it was in the summer, that would.
Okay. Yeah, if we can get people certified and we're not paying for it.
Can you coordinate with the town?
We've tried that before. And I can try to see about Mike, but they have their own class. And,
I thought it might be cheaper to combine the two, but.
we tried before. It just didn't work out, but I can certainly ask again and see.
You're paying for 8 regardless.
That's right.
And it's mandatory that we do it.
The village employees, it is, yeah.
So how many have you got?
6.
Seven,
Yeah, I've been through a couple of them, but like I say, when it comes to somebody's life, you can't be too careful. I can save you now. If you want to try. Don't drop that.
Okay,
No, it's
thanks.
a refresher course is always good though. That's, that's a great thing that Liberty provided.
Techniques change too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always, you always get a little more.
You got anything else?
All in my report.
Any questions on Courtney's report?
With the code officer's report, you can see it here. I talked to him about this earlier. The 2020 permits and the 2021 permit, I talked to him about those ones. Those are actually ones that are still open that received extensions. So anything he puts in his report is still active.
I guess they took me off the books.
You closed out pipe, closed out your
Been a
permit.
long time.
Looking at that, the board, Bart printed it out, I can give this to everybody. This is for up to the end of the fiscal year. The numbers are getting close, but there's still some things that we are, as you saw in the bills, there's still bills coming in that we incurred in the last fiscal year that will go on here. And then there's some adjustments that'll be made, but these numbers are getting close. To being 10 figures.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept all the officers' reports?
I make a motion.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, privilege of the floor.
Well, I guess we'll get to the point we're gonna have a problem again. A new person has moved into 20A Rochester Street. That's the fourth person in there now. The first person who moved in, the electric was put in on Munger Street. So this person who had this house put in didn't even have a right of way to bring his power into the house. And that's all that runs the house is electric. That line was moved out of Munger Street in 2 seconds. Because I think the person on Munger Street realized what happened to 20A, to the yard on Rochester Street. It didn't pass the perk test. Roy Hill came and cried to my father, but he did not tell him why they had moved the line. This was only 2 years away from Greywater. Bob and Wanda McVeigh should have been told to wait 2 years. Then the Greywater been put in, and it wouldn't even matter that the property didn't perk. The ground is so wet, their back great room that's off the main ranch house sits on a pad. They didn't even put a whole full basement under the whole house. So the village, Roy Hill came to my dad. The wire's been there since 1983. The trees have never been trimmed. The wire fell down once during the ice storm. You've been there once to fix it when the squirrels chew the ground wire because the tree protects them, and it was blowing up stuff, and the second people to own the house, Mike and Julie, it was blowing up their TV because the ground was looking for someplace in there.
Right, now I remember.
Now the fourth person's in there, and it's Chris and Ashley Haywood. Well, Chris's dad is the town supervisor. So I guess we're getting back to the good old boy program now. And Chris is looking to put gas in somewhere. But I think the electric line was told to us that Rochester was a bad street to have electric on. And I doubt that was true. I think Roy lived on Rochester Street, and I think his street would have been probably the best street in the village. I think he lied about that too. But what is in the line now, in from Rochester Street, is cable and telephone. What came in on Clinton Street was electric, telephone, and cable. But the cable people didn't come and ask nice and have paperwork signed. So they had to move it, because it was low enough to hang clothes on. But I talked to Chris last fall, who's your electric guy? Nick. When he was trimming trees, I said, hey, you didn't go back and trim that tree. Well, I don't know anything about that. Well, you know how the electric and telephone and cable works. You got cable and telephone coming in from Rochester with that big pole they put up. You need to put electric on top of it and get it out of my yard. So I can put a garage up and I can remodel the house and work on it. No one wants to come in. I luckily, the stone slinger that came in and filled the well for me got around the line. The people who put a new blacktop driveway for me, they got around the line. But it's getting old, and I know it's gonna go in because it's Chris Haywood. It's the good old boys. It's gonna be taken care of. There's also, yes, it will be, Joe. That's how it works.
No, they,
Because it didn't happen here, it happened down at the Legion. That's how that meeting happened. That land didn't perk, shouldn't be a house
if
there.
that was
It
30 years ago.
Doesn't matter though.
I'm saying that ain't gonna happen now. It's because of the name, believe me.
Yes, it will.
No, it won't.
And-
That's not
and
gonna have any
also,
effect at all on this.
With that wire there, I can't get rid of the one tree in my yard that hangs over the Cunningham property, hangs over the Smith property. So Laura Smith's 4 kids play in that yard with a tree that's not very safe. And you know Laura Smith's dad, Don
Yeah.
Cunningham,
Yeah.
another good old boy. So maybe with the 2 good old boys wanting this gas line put in and the yard safe for his daughter and his grandkids, maybe the electric line can finally get out of my yard.
What you're saying, the gas line's the key here. If they're gonna run a gas line, then maybe we can go in a trench.
Well, I don't need to wait for the gas line, I want the electric line out. It's been long enough. Now, I think we should bring up the rest of the village to the McVeigh level. because you didn't McVeigh did not have to put in a sand fill system. That's $10,000. There's about 300 houses in Bergen. Those people, everybody in Bergen needs $10,000 to be up with the McVeighs, that you saved them $10,000 on that house. So 300 times 10,000, it's only 3 million. You can handle that. And then I think, once you put the electric in through Clinton Street, 7 other people came in. Telephone came in, cable came in, water came in, sewer came in, and all the taxes came in. All because of an illegal electric line that came into our yard. So, just to use $1 as an example, if I charged all those 8 entities $1, and I think the village would have to pay for it, because you're not gonna blame everybody else when the village lied about the electric. It would be $96 a year, and for the 40+ years, you're looking at almost $4,000. Now, that's just me with $1. That's an offer. A lawyer would probably tell me, really? They did that for so many years? That was illegal? Maybe we should look into you not having to pay for electric anymore. Maybe you don't need to pay for sewer anymore. Maybe you don't even need to pay your village taxes anymore because of what was done here, and it's still there. And it's still a pain in the butt. I've been responsible. Our sidewalk is very nice. I took down the big, huge sugar maple because the neighbor kids, Dad told the sugar kids to play. That was $1,500. The stone slinger came in and filled in a big well in the backyard, 13.5 ton of number 2 pressure run went down the hole, filled their eye to the top. Nobody falls in it. I need that wire out so I can get that tree out of there. And I also need to know about the sewer for the gray water, the sewer grate that sits in my yard that's never been inspected. Is it going to be a problem like the one out here? The gray water, I have a sewer grate in my yard. It's never been inspected.
Where do you live?
15 Clinton Street.
I'm trying to picture which house that is. How many, so
The
how
big
many?
White House next to the parsonage.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I need that tree gone, so I'm gonna be very careful around the gray water system. I know where it is. And it runs from that sewer grate underneath Catalino's shed, so I can line that up pretty good. You know, when we drop the big part of the tree, the guy goes, where are we dropping it? And you can't go that way, because that's the sewer. I said, you can't drop it on my septic tank. You can't drop it on the garage. You don't want to drop it out front because Urban Trout Auto's coming to take all the big wood away. But we're not too high. We're not going to get to the gray water system in the back, so we'll drop it to the backyard. That tree was taken care of, though, and that one twig went out front for the village to pick up. It all got carried away between my son and Urban Trout and the other guys cutting that wood down. That was a huge tree. But it's time for the electric line to go.
When was that house built?
81.
So that's when this all went down.
And that house was built, I built a house on War Boys Road. The line went up through my yard. The electric line went up through my yard. The phone line went up through my yard. When Palmer's next door, when the electric turned on, Niagara Mohawk cut me a check for what was in the hedgerow, because it was shared. I did that all myself. My parents were left to deal with a phone company for the McVeigns. What kind of crap was that? And the cable guy, he came in the yard one day and Dad told him to get out. And then when Dad, a couple days later, Dad took him on to a doctor's appointment, and the cable guy just showed up and put the wire in. He had to call the lawyer to get the line taken back out. Then a guy came on and signed it. Dad told him what he could do. That's when he put the big pole up. And they ran cable, and finally ran telephone. We had trouble with the telephone guy too, because Baskin agent forgot it was on that pole when they're taking those 3 poles out. That's when you stopped paying, wanted to get rid of the small telephone poles. And he forgot that line was still on there. They had buried it through the yard, but he forgot that. And he had to take it down and put it on Baxter Street. So we were doing a lot of work that the village should have been doing, but you guys wanted to stay away because you all knew that line was illegal. The yard didn't perk, there should have been a house there. Should have waited 2 years and then Tom Main could have gave you a hard time. The house would have been legal. It would have been hooked into the septic tank and hooked into the gray water. He wasn't bitching about the line, he was bitching about the fact that you were illegally in the yard. It didn't perk. And I don't know how the county didn't pick up on
I
it.
don't know how the county health didn't perk it.
They
County
come
health
in,
passed it.
and when it doesn't perk, they're gonna wait for you to put a sand fill system in, they can inspect it. When it does perk, you dig, when it does, you dig your holes, and it perks, then they give you a design of, for like Mike Johnson, they gave us a design for the septic tank, the distribution box, and 9 50-foot lines. Done. But when it doesn't perk, they're waiting for you to put the sand fill system they told you about, so they can come inspect it, you can continue on, but that wasn't done. Someone from the village designed this little system, or as the realtor told Chris, it's a bigger system than it should be. Because they wanted to make sure it lasted 2 years to get to the gray water. They should have just told McMains, wait 2 years, and you'll be legal. It's been illegal all these years.
Okay.
I haven't talked to a lawyer yet.
Okay, I'm just saying, this, you're going back 40-plus years.
And that's how long we've been
People
messing
did-
with it.
People did things with a handshake back then.
That's not how you do it.
Well, that's how it was done back then, but
Tracy John, I used to laugh at her, because I think she had Courtney's job. I said, show me the paperwork. And she could pull the folder open and hold it. There's no paperwork, there's nothing in the folder. I didn't have the art to tell her, well, you stupid fool, there's supposed to be a paper in there.
do we,
She didn't realize it. She wasn't told by the good old boys.
the problem we have here is getting an easement to get back into that area. Is there, can we go through your property?
He's been there for 40 years.
We're talking probably an underground line, we're talking. Because you want the overhead out of there. So we either gotta come in off of Munger or off of Rochester.
15, 7.
Or off Clinton.
Between 15 and 17 was the place to take it, because that's where the pole is, and it goes underground to Chris's house. And there'll be, is there a gas line on that side of the street?
That I don't know offhand.
Because he wants gas. So that would be, that house is for sale right now.
So we can't, I don't believe we can go up Rochester Street with that new pole because there's already 2 utilities in that little area. You know what the roadway is? There's already 2 easements in there to get back to that property. There's no room for us to excavate in there, trench a line to put underground electric in there.
Let's just take the driveway out.
And then the people on Munger would not give us the easement.
But they're both gone.
You got different, yeah, but now there's a pool in the way too, I believe.
Not all the way in the way.
Well, you have to go on the one property. If they would give an easement, then we could come in that way, if they'll give us an easement, but
But the reason it was taken out is because Tom Main figured out what you were doing wrong.
I don't know what easement was there or wasn't there. Like I said, you're going back
He knew what-
40 years.
he
I
knew
can't
the-
speak for what the board did 40
He
years
knew
ago,
the-
because I don't know.
He knew the property that Perk, and you worked with Roy Hill then too, so you know.
No, I did not work with Roy Hill back then.
Yeah.
You're going back 40
You're
years.
probably the one that put the line up.
No, I didn't put it up.
Yeah. And now,
I did not put it up. I started here in 1997. So I did not put that line up.
you were working for the village before that.
No. I
He's a
read
meter
meters.
reader.
I read meters, strictly read meters once a month. That's all I did. But that's here and there. If we can get an easement to get back in there,
That's what I heard
Or-
before. That's what I heard before. I guess I need to talk to
well,
somebody.
if people have property and they won't give you an easement, what am I gonna do?
Well, you should put the house.
Condemn their I can't.
The house should have been built in the first place.
You cannot do that, we don't have a time machine. What's done is done, all we can do is try and make it right from
Yeah.
this point forward.
Well, then, first thing to make it right is 300 people that live in the village all get a check for $10,000.
Well, you and I know that that's not realistic.
Well, Ralph got sued for $30,000. Joe did a little better. He went for $3 million. You paid that guy off that sued Ralph for $30,000. Call your insurance company. Tell them, I got another problem.
Okay.
This starts with the Hart brothers out there. They did that.
I'm gonna check into the gas. If he's putting gas in there, he'll have to have an easement probably to get one of the roads. If we can go in a joint trench with the gas, that's the way to go on this. And I'm gonna move on now. Is there anything else? Believe me, I will look into this.
Well, I'm looking into it from the other side too. So someone may be in contact with you.
Okay. Anything else to go to the floor? Trustee concerns. Paul?
Just, Joe, is there anything we can do with the trail that connects, that goes over the creek where we had the problem with the bridge? That material's wiped off that bridge again.
Oh, the abrasive?
Yeah, the abrasive, and then the trail itself, the Millings Trail. Is there something we can do to groom that a little better? Maybe hit it with a heavy roller or something, knock those, there's some pretty good lumps of blacktop.
You talking
that
around
have risen up through those millings on that trail
Okay.
that goes over Canterbury. It's a little bit of a tripping hazard. So I think you could probably box blade it off and maybe stone dust it over it for an economical fix, just to get rid of the tripping hazard.
Okay.
But that's all I have, Joe.
George?
No, I think we covered everything that I had any concerns about.
Mike?
Nobody's brought concerns to me.
Emily?
Yeah, I have a couple. I just wanted to make sure it's known, I don't know, whatever. In the newsletter, it mentioned how Clark Patterson Lee was doing a grant for free, and I just wanted, like, that's always been what they've done. It's not a new thing. Like, it was just written in a way that I was like,
Well, I
think this is always how they do it. So I just wanted to say, like, they've always done that. So.
Yeah, I just want the residents to know that there's no fee
Yeah.
involved in it.
Right, but I mean, that's something they've always done, so I just wanted to mention that. And then I was curious how the catch basins down on Leroy Street work. I know they were like super underwater a month ago. And I was wondering, I was thinking about it, I'm like, wait a second, what's happening to them? Are they clogged? Is that part of the infiltration thing? Like, what's going on? So I was just curious how that
Were you talking stormwater or wastewater?
stormwater.
Okay, storm, go ahead.
Yeah, so those two were underwater.
Yeah.
So we had Churchville come in with their jetter, and we tried to clean them out.
Mhm.
And we got the trench pump, and we were pumping water out of them, but they're just would equalize, and as much water we pumped out, it would stay about the same. And the jetter could only go so far, and it was hitting something.
Okay.
So what we decided to do is wait till it dried up, and that would get the water levels down, and give us a chance to get in there and see what the really problem was.
Okay, so they're clogged.
Somewhere there's a problem, and it's kind of strange because there's the one behind your place, the sump pump runs into, and then like straight across the road into that like parking area.
Yeah.
There's another one, the trailer pumps into that one, but the one by the trailer was overflowing and heading towards tracks. The one behind your place was staying just below the grate. But the system from that one behind your place, one goes over across the street and the other one goes down Spring Street on that side of the street, and then they all come together somewhere by the tracks behind the machine shop. So we have to figure out what's obstructing it. We got about 150 feet down Spring Street before so it could be roots from a tree or whatever. But we gotta
Could be animals too. We flushed that a couple of years ago and got 50 or 60 dead snakes out of it.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
Not all were dead, but it was like January, and we weren't expecting things to be moving in the water, and they were. They come in from the swamp, come under the tracks, and go right in those pipes. And
There's a
you know,
number of
myself
pipes,
and
too.
another person, yeah, we weren't expecting that. We just got this big ball of them, and then they just kept coming out with the machines. Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the one pipe is what, like this big around?
it's pretty good size, yeah. So, but I've never seen so many. It looked like Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom or whatever. There was
Did you do
that
it?
many snakes in that thing.
What'd you do with it?
They flowed with the water under the tracks. Some were partially alive, but most, they were either dead or hibernating. It was January, I think, February. There was snow on the ground. We did it the last time we had an issue back then.
That's stormwater?
Yep.
And is there anywhere it can, because I had a grass snake in my house here not too long ago. I don't know how he got in there, and I'm thinking, this is a nightmare.
They can get in under your door or anything like
So they call it Spring Street.
Yeah.
A lot of water down there.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, well, I know it's Spring Street, but what is, I felt like there must have been something, so, okay. Sorry. And then, other, someday I'll be all better. The other concern is just the guys working on the weekend for things that seem, to me, they seem little, and then I know, I think it was Memorial Day. Someone was up weed whacking.
No.
I think it was
Shouldn't be
Memorial
weed.
Day morning.
When?
Memorial Day morning.
Do you know who it was?
I feel like it was Nick, but I'm not sure. They all have like 4-letter names, and so when
What location?
not like that, like they're all literally spelled with 4 letters. And I always confuse it. I can't remember.
What location?
Up at the park.
Yeah, I sent you an email back.
Yes, this was a different,
I'm not aware of that
a
one.
different one. So I was like, I don't know, is it because it's the 4-day week and just like shifting hours? I don't know. But
Well, some
I'm pretty sure it was
of the guys
Memorial
work
Day.
Friday. Was it a Saturday?
No, I'm
Friday?
positive, I think it was Memorial Day.
Is it after the ceremony?
I can't remember.
Like the parade, the ceremony all in the morning?
I don't know.
I know Zach went to the Memorial Day parade. So I don't know, maybe saw something and wanted to clean it up before the
Maybe.
parade.
I don't know, maybe it could have been Zach, I can't remember who it was, but
Well,
I don't know.
yeah,
I just
I'll find out.
saw that and just,
You're upset because
Yeah.
it was noisy and disturbing?
no,
No.
just because when they work, when it's not their hours, it's overtime, and that's a lot of money
I see.
that the village is spending,
I
so.
see.
And there
I
were
know.
2 things that happened that weekend. I emailed Joe about one asking about, and he responded, and then the other one happened, and I was like, what's going on? So I just thought I'd.
Yeah, one of the banners came down before the parade, Memorial Day parade. It was hanging. So I had to call Nick in because he had to have the bucket truck to put it back up. Because the parade was gonna be going down through there, and it just wasn't appropriate to have one of the banners hanging down, so. And then he had to go in the park and make sure the power was on, because at the last minute, the Legion wanted to use their microphone, so, so everybody could hear him talk. So they wanted that outlet turned on, so while he was here, he did that too, so. That's the only ones I know.
You don't think it was a private citizen doing something like that?
No.
You actually saw somebody?
I had someone tell me, like, they reported that they saw that. It wasn't just a random person weed whacking in the park.
Okay.
So, although, if someone wanted to, I guess it'd be okay. But yeah, those were my things, so.
Okay. You want to give any report on the summer rec?
Oh, sure. So summer rec is starting in 3 weeks, I think, July 5th. It's gonna run for 6 weeks this summer. The town has chipped in, they're paying for 2 weeks of it. The calendar is being put together. Evie Rodriguez is gonna be the counselor again for it. We're gonna get someone through job development that will assist with that. And then Courtney and I are gonna meet tomorrow and talk through some different things, so, make sure everything's finalized and we have all the paperwork, and, yeah, so,
Okay.
thankfully, Anna Marie put together all of it for this year. The big thing will be for next year. It's so far in advance that it really is all lined up for this year, so
Okay.
that makes it easy.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. New business. Courtney, want to go over that resolution number 8?
Sure. Basically, the scope of the project has changed a number of times. Started way back in 2019, when we started to do financing, and EFC and the different things we decided to do. We need to update the resolution so that it's correct scope, so we can send it to EFC for approval. So this was sent to me by our bond counsel. And this is also subject to a permissive referendum. So if the citizens are against it, they can do a petition and force a permissive referendum within 30 days. So there'll be 30 days before this go into effect. It can be submitted to UFC for those through the process. Yeah, it's quite the legal weeds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of whereases.
Mhm.
Had we gone out for that bond yet? Is that why, that's why it's so lengthy? So it was in 2019, okay.
Mostly this money is being financed through the EFC, so it's kind of liking it to a building loan. We're buying a house, building a house, have a loan for it. So basically, right now, everything that's being incurred, we pay for, and then we submit it to the EFC through municipal solutions. And we get reimbursed. I think it's set for us to get a 0% financing once we go to long-term financing, which is awesome. That's what the FC is for, to give out, zero or like low rates, so we can, municipalities can afford it off the bond.
And how, this is 20 years? How long is this bond?
40 years.
40 years.
40.
And this is resolution 7, and here's resolution 8.
Yes.
Which is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be 8.
Supposed to be number 8. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept this resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Paul's made a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Emily, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, equipment surplus, our 2019 Kubota zero-turn mower. Courtney, when's the new one due in?
Monday.
Monday. So this one would go to auction, and we just want to have a motion and a second and pass it to, if this is surplus, and put it in the auction.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, I think that's it. I've requested executive session to discuss an employee matter.
You need a motion? Yeah. I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made to go into executive session. Is there a second? Michael? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all for coming tonight.
You're welcome.
I'll be in touch. I will be in touch.
You gonna walk the home goods? If you want to, that way, it'll be fine.
Please walk down. No.
Yeah, I finally figured out what I'll do. Talking, thinking that, because we hear
yeah.
back there, and
Wait, yeah.
his,
I understood the point.
Yeah.